Hey guys, I just wanted to be able to start this off asking some questions because this has been something I've been thinking about for a minute and I figured why not make a video talking about it. So, honestly, one of the questions I was wondering about is if you've ever met someone who seemed like a genuine NPC, like it really didn't matter if it was from how they behaved or if it was just any sort of information that you gathered about them, but you ever just try to have a conversation with someone like this and it just seems impossible and you'd rather just watch glue dry because I've had those sorts of interactions with people before too, and it was always just curious to me, like how these people even operate on a day-to-day basis because it feels like they're so limited on what there is to know about them, yet alone even them having things that they even do. And it's just crazy to me. And it had me thinking about just hobbies in general because those sort of things do help with an identity and kind of help construct an identity about someone. And how can you even figure out who someone might be whenever you don't even know a lick of shit about them, even though you try, regardless of how much ever you even try to know about them? They're just so dry with it. And it's more entertaining to watch actual paint dry on a wall because that's just how it gets with some of these people out here, I swear, especially in this day and age where everyone usually feels like they're on some sort of autopilot NPC programming, to say the least. So let's go ahead and delve into it a little bit more based on what I've already said earlier prior, and that's having an identity with it. Because if you have a hobby, you have some sort of identity that people can recognize you from that makes you somewhat distinctive. You can see it a lot with, anyone really, and a lot of stuff, whether it's, there's just a lot of variety on how you can see someone's identity and perceive them through what they like. It's a way to reflect about someone. It shows something about them. It's a characteristic. But let's just get something straight though. When it comes to traveling, as a hobby, that's not a hobby. Everybody likes to travel. Simple as that. Moving on, when it does come to an identity, it serves as a foundation of what makes you who you are. If you were to forget who you were, how would you even know how to remember who you once were and help yourself remember who you are? Most likely, it'd probably be through something that you really enjoyed. Really, that is where I'm coming from with the whole hobby stuff. There's an identity relationship with your hobbies, and that is something that makes a big foundation to what makes someone who they are, and being able to recognize someone for who they are through things they like, enjoy, or good at, how they dress maybe. There's a lot of different aspects that make up this sort of thing, and it's this sort of thing that makes it important when it comes to having an identity and the hobbies that you enjoy to at least be able to have one. Because, like I said earlier, you talk to someone who doesn't seem like they have a lick of shit that they even know about themselves, and they just feel like an NPC. What is there to gather about them? What is there to know about them other than them feeling like an NPC? Because you really have nothing, if we're being realistic here, when it comes down to that sort of scenario. Take this stuff into account when it comes to giving somebody a gift, whether it's for like a holiday or their birthday or some sort of relationship that you might have with someone. You're usually gonna try to give them a gift based on what you know about them and things that they like. And if you don't have anything to work off of, you're usually gonna have just a more shitty gift in that sort of regard because you don't know what they like. You don't know any of their interests. There's nothing that you can really reference to go off of that you would have a feeling of them liking. And that's one of the unique things in the art of the whole gift giving stuff is that if you know the person reasonably well, or if you know that there's something that you feel like they might like, it's because you know them fairly well enough to, with their identity. Essentially, your identity is just a resume about yourself with extra steps. That's the best way I can explain it in that regard because it's a good reference sheet to go off of when it comes to people you know. So moving on, there's another nice thing outside of just the whole identity aspect when it comes to hobbies, and that's actually just it's as simple as people having a purpose for something that they do with them. Now, it's just interesting because a lot of people don't really bear in mind that hobbies really do serve as like a really good mental foundation to just be more motivated to do something, whatever it is you may be doing. Whether it's just something casual, whether it's something, not really too intricate, or something that takes a lot of effort and skill to be able to get good at. There's many different levels to it. Simply, there's a beginner, intermediate, and advanced when it comes to the whole hobbies. I feel like, for the simple fact that you don't have to really be invested in it unless you want to. There's a whole free will aspect with it, to where you can control how much you want to get involved in it, or how little you don't want to be involved in it. You can try out a new hobby and you might not like it, or you might have a phase where you're in a certain hobby and you just kind of get out of it. There's there's just something about it that has a nice freedom feeling to it, of just, you can do whatever it is as you please with it, and it just gives you a good reason to do whatever it is that you might do as a hobby. And it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to have, with that being the case. And even adding on to this whole thing, there's just a lot of opportunities when it comes to hobbies. There's just this whole mysticism about them, to where you can be invested in a hobby and go in blind with it, and you just get involved with, like, just these really neat people, whether it's just communities you're joined into or people you may meet in real time about it. But it's just a nice feeling where you have all these opportunities to be able to meet new people through your hobbies and network in that sort of aspect, instead of just doing all the stuff online of, where you meet new people online. You're actually out there doing something. You're actually being productive, instead of, being chronically online all the time. You're actually going out of your way, being engaged in something that you enjoy doing, and that's something that you're able to work with someone, is having that common ground of communion, where they're also out doing the same thing, for the very same reason that they enjoy it, whatever it is that you may have as a hobby. And it's just really nice knowing that those sort of things really do serve as a good foundation for just having something to share with someone, whether it's individually or collectively, with with the whole community's worth of people that are invested into it. There's just many layers, like I said prior. Honestly, when it comes to the opportunities of hobbies, it's really just fuck around and find out. You're really just seeing if it's something that you might enjoy or not. And if you don't have to bother with it. And if you do like it, you can easily just be spending more time into it, more than what you already have. It's just nice. You have options in that sort of regard, of being able to just fuck around and find out for yourself. And it's really just an adventure whenever you do get involved with that sort of thing. It can lead to a lot of opportunities, a lot of open gates, new connections. There's a lot of things that come out of it. More benefits than there are harm in that sort of thing. And it's really just because you went through your own means to doing whatever it is that you wanted to do and check out for yourself. Honestly, if it is something that you do learn from this video, or need to just hear from someone telling you, when it comes to hobbies, it's just good for your mental health. It's very important that you take care of your mind, especially. Obviously, you want to be able to take care of yourself physically, but you definitely need to take care of your mental state, because in this day and age, suffering, it just feels like a natural occurrence, and not having hobbies just really makes it worse for you, because you don't have anything that's giving you any sort of goals or motivation or enjoyment, in a world that's kind of been harsh, to say the least, in this day and age. And that's just something I wanted to be able to tell people. And honestly, for me, because of my hobbies, I know I've been able to feel a lot more better with myself mentally, especially just getting back into hobbies that I hadn't done for a long time, or just taking a break from, just because reality kind of hits, and it hits hard sometimes. But that's just something I want to be able to put out there. And I do implore that you find a hobby of something that you really enjoy. Even better if it is something healthy and not necessarily going to be harmful to you. But just have a hobby. I'm telling you, makes a big day and night difference when it comes to having one. You'll be very enlightened when it comes to just the feeling that you get from it, and not necessarily being so chronically online all the time, to where, everything just feels like you're in a hopeless spiral. Honestly, when it comes to hobbies, it's the equivalent of what people tell you when it comes to a job, that you want to do a job that you like. Same principles can be applied when it comes to hobbies. Do a hobby that you like, do a hobby that's gonna make you enjoy what it is that you're doing and not weigh you down in any sort of bad way. And with that being said, that's going to be it for this video. It's a little bit shorter than what I've usually been uploading lately, but we'll see how it goes with this. Thank you for your time, and I will see you next time when I make another video.